There's a fascinating book called I Was a Monk, and it was written, I don't know, in the 1920s or 30s, but it was a man named John Emertet, who was a contemporary of Master. And he was a fascinating man. He joined early on the Jesuit order and rose through the ranks. And so much of the book, part of the book, is talking about the training and the practices of this very strict and very dedicated Catholic order, the Jesuits. And he rose through the ranks until he became essentially the teacher of philosophy for the Jesuits. And he lived in the Vatican, and he taught the priests and so on the philosophy of Christianity, and or churchianity. I should really talk about it because there is a difference. But at one point, he got ill with a lung disease, with tuberculosis. And in those days, the cure for tuberculosis was to send you to Switzerland, where you stayed in a hotel, a spa, high in the mountains and breathed clean, cold air. So every day he would go out on the balcony with blankets and breathe. Well, he was a very interesting, very contemplative, very intelligent person, obviously. And as he did that, he basically had a many-month-long seclusion. And in that seclusion, he had the experience of cosmic consciousness. He had a samadhi experience. And he felt himself to be everything in the universe. And then he had the dilemma, after coming out of Sabhikalpa Samadhi, coming out of that, did he go back to his job as he began to recover and teach the philosophy that we were separate from God? That because God had created us, we were a separate order of being, but he had experienced the fact that that wasn't true. And so, being a man of integrity, he ended up leaving the order, and he ended up, in fact, living out very close to 29 Palms. And he was a hermit in the desert, and many of the actors and actresses of the time of Master would come and visit him. So I imagine that Master must have known of him and probably visited him, but I'm not sure of that. I'm just speculating. But at any rate, the point here being that once you have the experience of consciousness, which is where the whole Vedantic science, Vedantic teachings has come from. It hasn't come from a debate. It hasn't come from philosophy. It hasn't come from two dons, in this case, ancient Himalayan sages sitting there arguing about things. It has come from eventually increasing stillness of consciousness until the consciousness becomes still enough and deep enough, and we realize who we are.